No Block, No Rock, Season 2, Episode 21. Coming at you once again from the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room.
Woo!
Let's talk about it.
Talk about it.
I'm drinking a Cardinal Pale Ale, golden in color, a little citrusy, 6%. It's won many awards, a lot of bronze, silver, gold, all throughout the line. I don't know, I'm pretty refreshed drinking this.
And that's like a Nebraska Brewing Company staple. Like, you guys can get Cardinal Pale Ale at really any bar in Nebraska. Like, it's always on tap, or they always have it in cans. That is like a Nebraska Brewing Company day one staple.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle, what are you drinking over there?
So I started off with the It Takes Two to Mango.
Ooh.
So I stepped out of my normal Taco Vesa and, like the starter kit for the first time craft beer drinkers. But I'm back to Taco Vesa now. But the It Takes Two to Tango was fantastic. I just got back from Mexico. You mentioned it in the last episode.
Ooh.
And it was like the perfect citrus amount. It was nice and fruity.
Did you have some flashbacks?
Yeah, I did.
going
I
back?
felt
Okay.
like I was sitting on the beach in Mexico. It was great.
Sipping margaritas, passed out by 3 o'clock. That's
Yeah.
how you do Mexico.
Yeah.
Mike, what you got?
I'm simple. I'm drinking an EOS. That Hefeweizen. Got that little banana flavor.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good, smooth. It's a light beer. But Jared, we have a special guest. So you want to introduce our special guest, and he can
Sure.
tell us what he's sipping on.
Yeah, okay. So before we recorded, I approached you, and I was like, how do you feel about being called Mickey? And he said, oh, I don't care. And he goes, I think I know where you're going with this. We have with us probably the second most popular Mickey in the state right now. 'Cause
Okay.
The first
Yeah.
most popular is Mickey
Yeah.
Joseph,
Yeah.
right?
Hey, I guess
Mickey,
so.
Mickey Stoltenberg?
All right,
No,
so
no.
I told you I'd tell you if you're right, if I knew where you're going with that.
Was
I
that-
thought you were going to sing, "Oh, Mickey, you so fine."
Oh.
So I guess, yeah.
Oh,
missed
Mickey
on that
Joseph,
one.
ace recruiter coming here. He's number one in the state of Nebraska.
Yeah. No, yeah, for
So
sure.
we want to welcome Mick Stoltenberg to the No Block, No Rock podcast. Mick, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time out.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, guys. I'm looking forward to it.
And so, we're still on this Nebraska Brewing Company, promotion. So can you tell us what you're drinking and your thoughts on it?
I'm as well drinking the Hefeweizen. Really good. Yeah, I was going to say, never been here before to the tap room, but I've had some of the Nebraska Brewing Company beers just around town. Like you said,
Yeah.
It seems like they're kind of on tap in gas stations everywhere. So, yeah, this one's really good. Never had it before, but thought I'd give it a shot, and it's pretty good. It's going down pretty easy.
Yeah. So our listeners out there, come to their tap room, 108th and Harrison in La Vista, Nebraska. And as they always say, world class in every glass. So Mick, I just want to start off. Maybe this isn't like great territory for you. Maybe you're a little emotional. I don't know. Gretna getting their state title revoked.
Right.
I'm doing the air quotes
Yep.
for our listeners.
Yep.
What were your initial thoughts on them getting their state title revoked?
Well, I honestly, I had no idea what it was about. And then what I thought was bizarre is they just started reporting on it. And I figured it would never come out if it's a 16, 17-year-old kid and, something went wrong, if there was a clerical error or something like that with enrollment or eligibility. But yeah, they went ahead and, published the kid's name, kind of told the whole story. So after hearing the story, reading about it, it's just a shame. It's because really when you boil it down, it's a rule that pretty much only Gretna could break, because essentially it looked like a lot of the other Class A districts are open enrollment, whereas Gretna's not. It was like that the same way when I was there too. So it's a bummer because we had students when I was in school back in 2013-14 that would transfer out to Papillion La Vista South, go just to try and play sports at that Class A level when we were still Class B. So yeah, it just stinks for the kid. And who knows what really went down, I guess what really happened, but it sounded like he was, technically living in Gretna. So yeah, it's a bummer. And I guess I saw that they revisited it and decided to kind of hold the same,
Same conclusion.
Yeah, same conclusion essentially with the NSAA. So I guess the only thing Gretna can do now is seek legal action, which I don't know if they're going to do that. It just sounds like a lot of money and headaches.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a bummer, especially since Gretna really, when I was there too, we came close but never won the state title. So watching that game, I don't know how you guys felt. I thought that was like one of the best high school
Oh,
Nebraska football games I've ever
Yes.
seen. I'm biased, obviously, but
Oh, I love watching those kind of games. The
Yeah,
low scoring, freaking
Defense,
For sure.
Yeah,
yes. And
low
here's
scoring, but still a lot of offense. So like,
yeah.
you know, they're moving the ball down the field, but it just every time someone got in the red zone, something happened. They couldn't
Yes.
score, went for it on fourth and didn't make it. So it was just a back and forth slugfest. And you know, those guys earned it for sure. It was a fun game. So
well, and it's like, okay, you take the state title away from these guys and they busted their ass for an entire season. You really think a guy that had like 40 some yards in the state championship game wasn't really like a huge contributor? You really think he's the reason that Westside lost that game? Come on.
Yeah.
Like
it's and obviously I don't know who it'll never come out. I'm sure what
Oh, it's
really
got
went
to.
down.
Westside
It's
said they
got
weren't the
to.
one. Westside
Yeah.
said they didn't blow
Yeah.
whistles.
Yeah, that
on
whole
it, so-
back and forth.
there had to have been
Griffin,
some
yeah.
sour grapes or something. I don't see someone just flipping through files or
Right,
something like
yeah.
that and like, oh wait, look at this. This is something we didn't notice 3 months ago that now we're noticing.
Yeah.
You know, obviously something probably happened or someone probably tipped them off. So,
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is. I still look at them as state champs. I'm sure they'll put up a billboard. They took the trophy out of the trophy case, but you know, it was still a cool deal for those kids. And gosh, they got a talented team. You know, it's pretty fun to watch. When they moved to Class A, I'm gonna be honest, I thought they would kind of be a doormat for a while, just because it's a whole different level of competition. But you know, as enrollment in that school district went up, they've really got a lot of talented kids. That quarterback is really good.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to see where he ends. I mean, they got good players across the board, some big physical athletes too. Like, you know, line play was good. It was a good team.
So maybe another Mick Stoltenberg, maybe coming through the wing, coming
Yeah,
into
yeah.
Another
Coming-
dragon coming through.
coming through Lincoln, right?
Yeah, you never know. You never
Yeah.
know. I hope so. You know, I hope they can get kids developed to the point where they're getting some, you know, Division I Power 5 scholarship opportunities, because that's the goal. And it was, at the time pretty rare. It was Janovich a couple years before me.
Yep.
And then, you know, I rolled through a couple years later. So yeah, we haven't had a ton. So it's cool to see some of those kids get some Division I looks.
Yeah. So, Mike, I know this is kind of your question that you wanted to ask, but
Hey, about it, yeah.
you're talking about like developing those kids to get those big offers and things like that. So you got your offer to go to Nebraska, and we talked about like you having to put on a ton of weight once
Sure.
Bob Diaco showed up.
Yeah.
So like what was your weight at when you left high school, and how much did you have to gain in order to get some playing time?
So when I left high school, I was probably anywhere between 260 and 265. And Pelini's staff recruited me, honestly, kind of as just a big athlete. I went to the camp. That's where I earned my scholarship, was at the camp before my senior season. They really never told me what I'd play. You know, I was told everything from offensive tackle to potentially tight end to defensive end to defensive tackle, like, you know, just basically anything a big person could do, I had the opportunity to do, just depending on how things went.
What did you play in high school?
I played defensive end, like a nine technique, 6 technique
Okay.
defensive end, and then I played a little bit of tight end too.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I really didn't know what I was going to play. You know, my heart of hearts, I always kind of wanted to play defense, just because that's what I had been playing in high school. But truly, I just wanted to go to Nebraska. I probably would have done anything. But yeah, you know, like I mentioned, I came in at 265. Gosh, I think end of my redshirt year, I was probably 270. You know, I'd put on a little bit of muscle, just not trying to gain weight, not trying to do anything special, just doing the strength and conditioning. And that's what I was instructed to do, was just, hey, take your redshirt year to develop, whatever, we'll decide where we need you. Coach Kaczynski, the defensive line coach in 2014, he told me, I played some defensive tackle and end in camp before my redshirt year. He told me during the season he would probably project me to be an end, like a true 6 technique, you know, head up on the tight end, or 5 technique outside the tackle. That was kind of where he saw me fitting as a 270-pound guy. And then when that staff got let go and Coach Riley's staff came in, the defensive line coach Hughes decided he wanted me to play tackle. You know, we had a really, really good defense. We had a really talented defensive line at the time. You know, you're talking about, you know, like guys like Greg McMullen, Malik Collins, Vince Valentine, Jack Gangwish, you know, a lot of really good big athletes. So it was kind of just, hey buddy, sit this one out. And, you know, but as a freshman, I probably gained about 10, 15 pounds. So maybe 280, 285 as a redshirt freshman. Then when Perella got hired, he saw me as a defensive tackle as well. And that's what I was already playing. So I think he's just like, yeah, you know, right now it was that year, Kevin Maurice was the 3 technique. So he played mostly outside the guard and Perella had me play inside the guard. So I was playing either shaded on the center or shaded inside the guard.
Sure.
So basically Kevin would line up in the B gap, I would line up in the A gap. So that year I was probably right under 300, maybe 290.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, like you said, when Diaco came in, it's like everyone, the whole buzz was we're moving to a 3-4, everybody.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we're doing. Do we have the horses for it? We don't have any true nose. We don't have any big 330-pound nose guards. You know, our defensive ends are 5 techniques. They're 270, 280. They're not big enough to play inside the tackles or play head up on a tackle. So they had me, basically Perella was just like, dude, get as heavy as you can get, you know, and we'll see how it goes. So I got up to that winter before 2017. I got up to 320.
Damn.
And yeah, damn is right. I was eating like it was my day job, man. Probably 7,000 calories a day.
What were you eating? Like, what do you have to do to put on that type of weight?
So it's a really, they kind of just say eat whatever.
Okay.
Like, you know, get enough protein, whatever. Make sure you're recovering correctly. But dude, if you want to have some fried chicken at the training table, go for it. If you want to have, you know, a big bowl of pasta, go for it. If you want to have, you know, bagels or something with your eggs, go for it. Like, just do whatever you can do, and we'll monitor it from there. And they do, you know, body fat scans and all that stuff, so they can let you know if you're maybe going a little too hard.
Yeah.
So I tried to make it as much of a progression as I could, but the first 4 weeks of the 8-week winter conditioning before that year were just basically lifting. It was very lifting focused, maybe a little bit of conditioning. Then the second 4 weeks are where they start to condition you and get you ready for spring ball. And I'll never forget one of the first conditioning runs we went out to. I was tipping the scales at 320, and we're done with like our first few like shuttles. And I look at JP Perella, I'm like, Coach, I can't do this, man. I'm going back down to 310. Like, I swear I cannot run at this weight. I will die in 3 plays. So went back down to 310, and it's crazy how much those 10 pounds made a difference. And it's like, so at that point, I'm like, all right, maybe this is kind of where my frame taps out in terms of just being able to keep, you know, the standard of conditioning I want to have for myself. And
Right.
so that's kind of where I was. So I never got any heavier than 310 really for the remainder of my career.
Okay. And you mentioned the magic words, winter conditioning.
Yeah.
So can you just take us through as a Division I athlete at the highest level? What's the difference between like summer conditioning and winter conditioning? Is there like a main difference?
Yeah. So summer conditioning, you know, really when you boil it down, it's like priming your body for the season. You know, it's a long season, man. It's not spring ball where it's 4 weeks. It is 13, 14 weeks. It's a grind. You got to be in the best physical shape as possible. So you're still lifting heavy, especially for the first few weeks of the progression. But then once you start getting closer to season, it's like, all right, how can we get this guy as athletic and as well conditioned? And, you know, it's like, how can we put it all together?
Right.
Whereas in the winter, it's like, all right, what's this linebacker that weighs 215? Like, what are we going to do with him? You know, he needs to put on some weight. Like, what are your strength and weight gain goals? Like, what are your goals for the season? Because this is the time to do it, you know, when you can really dial into your nutrition, your weightlifting, everything, where it's your only focus is like just grinding weight room. Like, that's, and you might get more hours per week in the winter. I can't remember what the rules are, or if there's even any rules anymore. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, for Nebraska, apparently there is. You can't practice
Yes.
too much.
Can't
you know,
practice.
God forbid.
Yeah.
You get in trouble for that. Even if you had a losing record the prior year, they still get on you about working out
Yeah.
and practicing too much.
Right.
Too many coaches on the field. You know.
Yeah.
Something that's going on everywhere, man.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
Oh
no-
yeah.
you
I
know,
mean,
it's like you look at some of the programs that have like 4,000 people on staff that are all analysts. It's like,
Yeah.
they're all involved.
Alabama.
Alabama, they
They're
have like
all involved. You know, it's all like, it's just loopholes. You know, it's, hey, what can we do to bend the, which personally, I don't think that position coach rule should be in place anyways. It's sort of an antiquated rule anymore, especially now where like guys are getting paid just ridiculous amounts of money for everything. So,
Well, because we talked about Alabama with Dan Lust, and he was like, yeah, they have like 11 analysts on their team, and they're all like former head coaches.
yeah.
it's like head coaching
Bill
rehab.
yeah. He's like, I just go see Nick Saban for a
Right.
couple years, and I just get right, you know.
Yeah, someone who just got fired for something or whatever. They had a bad stint as a head coach or coordinator, and they end up back with old Uncle Nick. You know?
Yeah.
Get it back right again. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for sure. Like winter conditioning that's like for me, it's like, hey, this is the only chance I get to really bulk up, because if I'm gaining a bunch of weight in the summer before the season starts, like, you know, I don't have time to get used to my body at that weight. And it's, you know, if you're really taking it seriously, like you're really dialed into like everything and how you feel and everything like that. So yeah, winter is just, hey, what's my goal for the season, like strength and conditioning wise, and that's kind of when you attack it the most.
Do you watch all the winter Kool-Aid hype videos? I mean, have you seen any of that
The
stuff?
weight room stare down
Okay,
videos.
I was gonna say the only I saw one today where they were out running in the Hawks. That was pretty much all I got to say about that. There's a video of them running. It's their video staff, by the way, is
top notch.
yeah. That's it is what it is. It's recruiting. You got to put shiny, cool pictures and videos out there, which they're doing a great job of. But I did see the weight room stare down video. And that's the thing is like we didn't do that. That must be something new that old Zach Duvall's putting in.
Yeah.
But things like that, like those are great. We did stuff like that, like where it was like, hey, let's put 275 on a trap bar and see who can hold it the longest. Like shit like that. That's really fun and competitive.
Right.
When I was a freshman, Dobson did the hey, all the big guys hang on the bar so you can just hold on for dear life for the longest. Like stuff like that, or who can hit the most push-ups in a row. So something like that where you're staring some dude in the face, I guess, and just testing your mental fortitude. It's like it probably looks funny to to just someone watching it, me included, but it's I know the mindset those kids are in where it's like, dude, I'm not letting this guy beat me.
Right.
I'm not letting this guy he's letting go before me. No question. So it's cool to see stuff like that because that's the type of stuff I miss, like for sure. Obviously I miss the games and everything, but for the most part, like the weight room and the competition in spring and fall ball where you're going against your like boys, like Gerald Foster is my roommate. It's like we'd go against each other in spring ball and it's like, dude, I hate this guy with all my heart for like an hour and a half and then we're like best buds. So that's the type of stuff you miss. So it's cool seeing videos like that. It's weird though. Like I watch a video now and I don't even recognize anyone anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the number of kids that were on the team when I was there is just dwindling year by year.
Yep.
So it's kind of weird, like
makes you old, right?
well, especially,
Old
Stilly, and granted he spent like 12 years there.
Yeah.
Seeing him leave's crazy because, he was I want to say he was a true freshman 2017, when I was a junior. So it just makes you, you've been away a long time when the guys you recognize start to kind of go away. So especially like Damian too, because I think Damian Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I think his freshman year was,
right?
I think it was 18
or 18. Yeah. I thought he was a Riley guy.
No, you're right.
Yeah, he was
you're
a
right.
Riley
It was
guy.
17. Yeah, it was 17 because JP was his coach for 1 year. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, you got it. You know more about the roster than I do. I don't even know what I'm doing here.
You're focused on other stuff.
Hey, no, you're here for a reason.
Yeah,
I'm just here to keep things moving along. Hey, so who is the strongest guy you've ever been a teammate with?
A combination of Carlos and Khalil Davis or Tanner Farmer, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Farm benched 225 like close to 40 times.
Yeah.
For his pro day.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think at the time, because he didn't get invited to the combine, that would have been the highest number among offensive linemen at that year's combine.
Dude, it was like 3 different events. He tested like top of
He-
the nation.
yeah.
He blew out like most linemen in that recruiting class, and we talked about that with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on air or off air, but it's like Tanner's like, I don't know what else I was supposed to do. He's like, I was in the best physical shape of my life. I tested through the roof on everything, and I still didn't get like an invite. I didn't get drafted,
Right.
all that stuff. And like he'd say like, hey, what do I need to do better? And they didn't have answers for him. So yeah, it's funny that you bring that up because I remember having that conversation with Tanner, and he's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, so I just decided to go wrestle.
Yeah,
And
he's a wrestling fiend. Like,
Yeah,
he's
gonna go
really, really good at
training to
like,
wrestle
hey,
for the Olympics.
That's
Yeah.
the first and last time I'm going to be like scouring the internet for Concordia wrestling clips. I'm like, I got to see if Farm won the semis, man. Like, and it sucked that, he couldn't get it done. But like, that was just cool because it's like, I haven't talked to Farm in a little while, but it's just like, dude, the dude's just a competitive dude.
Yeah.
Like, he was a graduate assistant for the football team for a fall. And then like, I don't know if he was just talking back and forth to wrestling coach, like, hey, you technically have a semester of eligibility.
Yeah, that's exactly
that's
how
what
it
happened.
went.
And it's
That's how
like,
it works.
to me, that's awesome. And he used to work with the wrestling team because he's the type of guy where if he just ate and kind of just did his thing, he's just a big boy. Like
Yep.
he was big when he came in. He would get up to 330 if you just let him loose. So
Yep.
like he would do some wrestling conditioning and stuff like that in the off season that I think did him a lot of good, especially later in his career. But yeah, I'd say Farm and then the twins were freak shows, dude. They squatting like close to seven plates, like 700 pounds, or like they were unbelievably strong, just very twitchy dudes. Like get down, bounce out of a squat with like 600 pounds or something like that. Just really, really incredible athletes. And it's, I'm sure we'll get into all this, but those are guys that I wish they would have had the same defensive coordinator and the same defensive line coach for 4 years or 5 years, because they played in so many different systems. Whereas I always thought they were recruited they were Pelini recruits. I know they came in Rally's first year, but they spent the entire recruiting process with Pelini and Kaczynski and Coach Papuchis. They are, in my opinion, they were both like true hand on the ground, put all your weight on your up hand, three techniques that can just burst up field and just wreak havoc. And when you kind of dial that back and have them kind of sitting back in this read and react, 3-4 defense,
Right.
which it is what it is. It's a different philosophy, but I always thought those guys were better suited for, that type of defense. Just get upfield and
something a little more aggressive.
Mess some stuff. Yeah, they're just body type wise too. Just kind of
not gap fillers.
Right. Well, not obviously Aaron Donald is who he is, but similar like bodies type to him. Like shorter, twitchier guys that are still heavy and can, just very powerful. That's similar to what they reminded me of. They're not just big space eaters, essentially.
Right.
And that's kind of what you need in like a 3-4, that nose tackle position is just like, let's get the biggest guy we can and see if he can push.
Yeah.
Like and fill the gaps. And I'm just shocked, like looking at you now, how the hell you did that shit.
Yeah. Although I will say for guys like that, it is good to be well rounded and learn everything.
Yes.
But no, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. It's the way it was. Like, I don't think I played outside of guard. Maybe like kind of one hand. How many times I was lined up outside of guard that entire 2017 season? Because I wasn't a pass rush guy. I was 310-pound nose guard. I would come off the field on third and anything more than 4 yards. So it was it's just what I got used to is just double teams on zone plays, just kind of like you said, eating some space up and stuff like that. But
all right, let's take this moment to shed some light on our other sponsor besides Nebraska Brewing Company, Patriarch Distillers at Soldier Valley Spirits, also located in La Vista, Nebraska. February 2021, Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
They're having a little event coming up. Mike, do you know a little bit more about this?
Yeah. So there's tons of local breweries on exit 442 right off the interstate.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, we like to support local here at No Block No Rock. And like it's tons of local breweries. Obviously, No Block No Rock is affiliated with Nebraska Brewing Company and Patriarch Distilleries and Soldier Valley Spirits. So they are doing an event on February 5th where they are going to be creating different beers, different drinks with different barrels. So if you guys have nothing going on February 5th, go check it out. Go support local and try some of these new drinks.
Yeah, and Patriarch Distillers, they're providing the barrels where all these different breweries are creating their beers and they're selling them. So look, last time we recorded there, I got the big red one, a little on the nose. It's just a whiskey with a Coke. Myself, I got a diet. I kept it simple.
Has to watch the
that's
figure.
That's my thing.
It's
man.
a diet ginger over here, right?
Hey, we don't need to get all fancy with
all that
mixing
extra sugar,
Nah, dude.
right? I gotta watch my physique. you know?
Don't
And
need
it's-
extra sugar.
Come on, and it's called the big red one.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
those-
insulting if I don't get it.
for those of you who don't look at us on social media and know what the heck's going on, Jared is like a straight redhead ginger boy.
Like orange, basically.
Orange, yes.
I'm orange.
Like allergic to the sun.
It's fine.
His favorite things to do.
It's not
His
fine.
favorite things to do are in the shade. So,
Or inside.
especially inside.
Sucking on sunscreen.
Not even true. I got my pup, and we're outside all the time.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm munching my pup on the pod.
Weird.
So
What's her name?
her name is Bailey.
Okay.
Okay. She's my dogger.
Yeah, that's his dogger. Okay. So, anyways, we got a pod going on. We have an awesome guest. Let's keep this thing going.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we were kind of talking a little bit before the break about like staff turnover, coach turnover, right?
Yeah.
And you yourself played for 3 different defensive coordinators. Mark Banker,
4.
the infamous Bob Diaco, and Eric Chinander.
And
Who am I missing?
Papuchis.
Oh,
Bridges.
you
Yeah.
I was a
shit.
Pelini guy, yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
four in 5 years, 4 D-line coaches in 5 years. Yeah, it was
I don't
quite
want
a ride.
that's
Yeah.
a roller coaster. I don't want you to necessarily get into like specifics about each guy, but
Sure.
Eric Chinander got a raise,
Yeah.
this offseason because, in my opinion, and a lot of Husker fans' opinion, he's been the best assistant coach, maybe the best coach overall on the staff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is it about Chinander that's made him like kind of a mainstay, and
Yeah,
these defensive have been consistently getting better?
for sure. Well, not just him, but just his staff in general. But the guys he's got working for him had done a great job. And
Okay.
it's another reason why I'm glad they were able to, salvage and keep the staff together, because they're doing a really good job of developing these dudes. But yeah, no, Coach Chins is great. I had the pleasure of working with him for a year, my last season, where he was, we were told, yeah, he's a 3-4 guy, whatever. But, I don't think he would like to put a label on his defense either. I think he is a really good coach. He's really good at adjusting his scheme or his philosophies to, A, his personnel, or B, the situation or who we're playing against. Because if you watch, if you really pay attention to the defensive personnel we put on the field, it's like different groups of guys based off of what the offense is doing. So it's a whole different it's a whole different outfit when we're playing in Wisconsin or Iowa or somebody that does a lot more heavy personnel than if we're playing against a spread team like Ohio State or Purdue or something like that. So yeah, he's great at like keeping his team well rounded. And like I said, he put together a really good staff. And I worked with Coach Dawson as a D-line coach too. Huge fan of his. I was, it's a bummer what happened. He took off to go work for the Giants after my senior year for a year.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks that staff, I think it was Coach McAdoo's staff.
Mhm.
They got let go in New York. And so unfortunately he was out of a job, but it was cool that he was able to come back once Coach DeWitt left for North Carolina. He was able to come back and work with the team again, because he's a D-line coach I had where he didn't play D-line. He played linebacker at UMass. He's an East Coast guy.
Did you guys give him shit for that at all?
No, never.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, yeah, we never really got into it. But
Yeah.
but the point I'm making is he's a D-line coach that could, in my opinion, he could coach every position on the defense. Like I think he could genuinely coach a cornerback or a safety unit to some success, because it was like having kind of like two DCs out there. When I was a senior, Chins was on the sideline and Dawson was in the booth. So it's like, yeah, it was cool to have a defensive line coach that would explain to us like, hey, this is what you're doing and this is why.
Yeah.
You understand a little bit more that way. So obviously, Coach Rude, all the guys, like just an awesome staff. And it's been cool for me to watch that unit progress, especially with guys like, Big Damian Daniels, some of those guys,
Mm-hmm.
Stilly, DeAndre Thomas, some of those D linemen that were, young guys in the program when I was there, and watching them have some success and everything. So yeah, I agree. It's been a real bright spot for the Huskers for sure, is the way that defenses came to play every week and kind of set us up and put us in good positions.
Well, and now that you're kind of sticking on that, Dawson has officially moved back to the defensive line.
Okay.
So he's back where you started with him.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you think the transition from being the outside linebackers coach to back to the defensive line, because Coach Tuohy went to Oregon, do you think that transition will be easy for the guys to just take on and run with it? Or
yeah, I think so. There's not a lot of guys. 2018 is when the last time he coached the D-line in Nebraska, so there's not a lot of guys there now that were defensive linemen under him. But like I said, he's a really well-rounded coach.
Yep.
And honestly, like a lot of the philosophies of teaching good outside linebackers, it's similar. It's similar techniques to when you're coaching an interior defensive lineman, just because at the end of the day, if you're lined up outside of a tackle or you're lined up outside of a guard or a center, if someone's blocking out at you, like a base block, or they're coming a zone block, you typically attack it the same way. You have different like leverages and gaps and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, like the philosophies of putting your hands on somebody and having your hands in the right position and being in your gap, controlling your real estate, it's the same stuff. And obviously it's different when mostly our interior D linemen aren't rushing as 5 techniques out there like like Caleb Tanner and Garrett Nelson and those guys. It's so some of that stuff's different, but again, it's all same system.
Mm-hmm.
it all works together, So
Yeah.
he definitely, I think it'll be a smooth transition for
Sweet.
sure. Yeah.
I think it says a lot that he was entrusted with technically coaching the special teams last year, and like you were saying, he seems like a Swiss Army knife kind of coach where he can adjust to wherever he needs to go.
Sure.
Like, yeah. So I just thought it was a neat thing where he was entrusted with the special teams, and that's been a hot button issue.
Yeah.
We need a dedicated guy. We have that now with Bill Bush, and
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting that he
Right.
became the guy.
Yeah, and we talked
last
about
year.
that. We talked about that a little bit at the break. We were kind of just BSing, but like really, it's tough because in the special teams too. It's like typically every position coach has a role in special teams. Whether it's hey, this guy is supposed to work with the kick return unit, or this guy is supposed to work with the kickoff unit, or whatever. So maybe it will be good to have somebody that's their entire job is just to coordinate. Hey, make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, working with the right units or whatever, and spending a lot of time to think about like the specific personnel you want working on each unit. And we had it both ways. When I was a freshman, we had Jeff Jamrog was running a lot of the special teams meetings, and he wasn't an on the field coach, so we had just all the position coaches kind of working together. No, he just coached us in the meeting room.
Okay.
He was a DFO at the time. So we had it that way. When Riley came in, Bruce Reed was the special teams coach, like designated special teams coach, and then when Coach Frost came in, it was kind of by committee. Coach DeWitt was the coordinator, but honestly, like part of that probably is the outside linebackers group is a really small position group. You're not working with a lot of guys,
Right.
So it's part of that too. Is it might be because it's a lot. It is so much work. It's just as much scouting as you do for defense and offense. So maybe they'll take a guy with a smaller position group, and that can kind of see. It's typically someone that works with kind of those tweener size players, like guys that they're not bigs, they're not like wide receivers. They're the big skill group, like the running backs, tight ends, outside linebackers, inside linebackers, groups like that. Like it's a similar type of athlete that's running down a lot of those coverage units. So yeah, it's that just might be the way they decided it worked out. But yeah, I haven't met Coach Bush, but it's like I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do and kind of seeing how it's different. So
Yeah.
sure.
And he was on Callahan's staff,
And he was on
did the
Callahan's,
same.
yeah.
And he was the recruiting,
Guru.
Right.
the Mickey Joseph of that time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, and he recruited Joe Burrow, and we could honestly
Super Bowl. Okay,
Okay.
Super Bowl talk.
Super Bowl talk.
Are we doing it?
Okay, we can. Yeah. Let's take
All right.
let's take a little break from Mick's playing career, and let's talk recent events. Okay, and then we'll roll into recent events in Husker football. So Bill Bush recruited Joe Burrow, and obviously we all know that story.
Yeah.
Everybody listening
have
should
to-
know that story.
We have to fucking see it
We-
every
we
single
get
week.
Yeah, we get to hear it for 2 more weeks. Yes,
Yeah,
Joe Burrow didn't come to Nebraska, and guess what? If he did, he wouldn't be in the Super Bowl right now.
Right.
Let's make sure those dots connect.
Yeah.
Mick, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl, and who do you want to win the Super Bowl?
Ooh.
Who do I think is going to win? Have they come out the line yet?
I don't know. Is it maybe?
I haven't seen a line yet.
I haven't looked
or
at it.
heard one.
I would suspect the Rams would be favored
Okay.
by a slight margin, just because that defense like totally tore it up against San Francisco.
Von
And
Miller,
it's-
Aaron Donald. Come on.
it is what it is. It's the way the Bengals built their team, right? They decided to focus more on skill players than drafting linemen.
Their
And
O
so-
line is not great.
Yeah. So you got Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, that Greg Gaines, Von Miller. I mean, they're all every down guys, and they all get after the quarterback like crazy, and it's really the reason they won. I mean, that you watch a game like that, it's just that's why a dominant pass rusher or dominant pass rushing unit is like, to me, it is 1A behind having a really good quarterback,
Yeah.
because it's that helped win him the game. It's last drive of the game. So I think
Yeah.
I think the Rams, just because of that matchup, just because of that freak show D line against the Bengals, is going to be really difficult. Although Titans have a really good D line, the Chiefs have a really good D line, and somehow Joe got out of Chris Jones's hands a couple times and was able to scramble for a couple first downs. So you never know. And who do I want to win? The Bengals, because it's like watching an underdog that hasn't really been there in a long time. And
Yeah.
how can you not root for Joe Burrow, who's just, it seems like everybody in the country likes the guy. And it's cool having some representation with Zach Taylor, some Nebraska.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think like half of the national media knew what he looked like until like a month ago, probably.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
You know,
but
so hopefully they can give him his flowers, and because he's done a really good job. I mean, I can't imagine how difficult it is to take over a program like that or an NFL team like that and go 2-14 your first year, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're in the Super Bowl a couple years later.
yay.
Yeah.
To me, it's like cool for the league because I'm a huge NFL fan.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are too. It's cool for the parity of the NFL when you can see like really like most of these teams, not all of them, most of these teams like maybe plus or minus the Jags. But you're like drafting that guy, that quarterback, or that dominant. Like you're that close.
It's all
you
it
know?
takes. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah, like truly. I mean, there's other pieces that
Of
go into
course.
it. Jamar Chase helps, and some of those guys that the Bengals got and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
it's just cool. Like I enjoy seeing different representation. I'm glad it's not just the Bucks and the Chiefs again. or
Yes.
something
Tom
like
Brady,
that.
Thank
Tom Brady, Tom
gosh.
Brady, Tom
Yeah.
Brady, Tom
Yeah.
Brady.
Yes, I
Well-
totally agree.
I think you guys are probably rooting with Buffalo along with me because I'm not a.
Hey, yeah,
Yeah,
Josh Allen.
maybe.
Let's root for him. You played against Josh Allen, right?
Well, that was one. I did. I would have. I tore my meniscus. Maybe two days before that game.
Oh,
I want to say it was a Thursday practice, so I didn't play that game, but I played the following weekend against Oregon.
And that
Hey,
was
it's
the,
okay.
that-
Nebraska didn't need Mick during
Yeah.
when we played
yeah. We
against Wyoming.
yeah.
Josh Allen was not who Josh Allen is when he played Nebraska.
When
And
Nate
He
Gary
wasn't,
just
throwing
said,
to, he wasn't throwing to Dawson Knox and Stephon Diggs either. But yeah, no, that was.
true.
I still can't believe that. And that would he have been a sophomore? That would have been 2016.
he was still like a young dude.
Even
still.
maybe a freshman or sophomore. So yeah, but that's
Yeah.
still like it's the best clip ever. I love when people share that.
Yeah.
when Nate Gary
When
just
Nate
hands in the
back to
ball.
him, yeah.
throws it back.
and obviously one of the reasons you're rooting for the Bengals, Stanley Morgan,
yeah,
former
yeah, for
teammate.
Sure. Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stan's the best, and Stan was part of the captain class with me, Giff, and Jerry when we were seniors.
And he went to Big Ten Media Day with you, didn't he?
He did.
Yep.
Yeah, me and Gerald and Stan went together. And Stan is the best. Like total brings up the energy of every room he was in. Like he was the best teammate you could ask for. So like I'll bet he's helping in a similar way in that Bengals locker room. And it's cool. Like he started out as I thought he was going to get drafted. I guess I don't
He
know.
should've-
It's
Yeah.
That's NFL collusion.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. That year that broke the Nebraska draft streak was the year that Divina Zigbo, Stanley Morgan, Tanner Farmer,
Giff.
Giff
was undrafted.
Yeah, Giff was undrafted. Like
Yeah.
these guys were all projected to be mid-round picks,
And they didn't even get like a combine invite.
No, some of them did, right?
Who got the combine invite that year? Was it just
No, it was a pro day. Divine was pro day. Stan was pro day. He didn't get an invite.
Tanner was pro.
Tanner
day.
was pro day.
with twins?
Gifford didn't
Did
go to the combine.
Did the twins get combine?
Was that the year after though? No, was that the same year?
Or no, yeah, it was
That
the year after. Yeah, it was the year after.
Yeah, I'm pretty
you're
sure
right.
nobody went to the
Yeah,
combine.
because they got drafted the year after, but that
That's
broke
right.
that
Yeah.
that broke
Yeah.
that like 40-year streak or some shit. No, I'm telling you, it was NFL collusion. They were pretty much saying
Yeah.
that Nebraska guys, like the coaching staff, whatever was going on, they were like, "Hey, whatever they're doing, we're not going to take any of those guys because tell me that a 1,000-yard receiver, Stanley Morgan, wasn't going to get drafted."
Well,
Like,
You look at some of these guys that get
yeah.
picked like last, and you're like, who? Like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is this dude?
yeah, from like Helen Keller University, we have.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
We'll bleep that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, he won't.
Yeah.
No, he won't.
probably not.
Well, and honestly, it's sad, but if you play on a good team, you got a better chance.
Yeah.
Like, you're just
Yeah,
gonna have
absolutely.
more. The more games you win, you'll have more eyes on your program. Like
Sure.
I'm sure that because we had scouts around and everything like that, but I'm sure we would have had more had we been, 7, 8, 9 win team or something like that year. So that, who knows? It could have been
Yeah.
a grand conspiracy or something like that.
Oh, it's a conspiracy. I'm gonna live by that because I lost a
Listen,
bet.
Hey,
I
you got-
disagree with you.
No.
Just wholeheartedly.
You gotta die on a hill, man.
Divine still on a team.
That's fine.
Gifford still on a
I
team.
know.
Stan still on a team.
I feel you.
Who else?
That's fair.
There's
That's
one
fair.
more. There's one more.
Tanner.
That's still
Hey,
on
you
a
gotta
team.
stick with your takes.
Tanner's not in.
I'm gonna always stick with those
Good.
takes.
Nah,
Good.
I don't think
Collusion.
NFL teams want to win, so they're not going to be like, "Oh, we got to screw Mike Riley over."
No, come on. Whatever.
Fuck Mick Stoltenberg. We gotta, like we gotta win games. It don't matter where they're from. I don't care if they're from Lafayette. I don't care if they're from bumfuck you. We got to get a dude who's going to help us win games.
Sure.
Okay.
And, listen, I'm not saying Stanley wouldn't have done that. I'm just saying I don't think it's a big.
These guys are all still on NFL rosters. That's all I got to
feel
say.
You. I feel you.
Mick, do you have any fun Stanley Morgan stories in honor of the Super Bowl?
Gosh, I don't know. So we did an event in North Platte when I got done playing, and it was one of those deals where I can't remember what the organization was. It was just some charity thing, and it was the stuff that pre-NIL era. So we actually got to cash in a little bit on our name, image, and likeness, like the 2 months after we get done playing. So or a few months after. So we went out to North Platte. It was me. I want to say it was me, Divine, Cole Conrad, and Stan, and we were doing like a little question answer panel thing. And they were giving us beers, wine, whatever you wanted to drink. And Stan had a few drinks, and I don't think Stan's a little guy, and I don't think he drinks a ton. He kind of looks at me. He's like, "Hey man, just make sure I don't say anything stupid." I've had a couple of these drinks, and so, he did great. I think he was just messing around, but yeah, it's just the type of guy Stan was. He just loved having fun, like brought up the energy in the locker room, and he is a ferocious competitor.
Would you call him in our break? A special teams
demon. Yeah. He was making. I can't remember what game it was. Watching a guy who just wasn't expected to tackle. He was the guy. Like he was the premier receiver for our team for a few, and just his willingness to like just work, do whatever he has to do to get on the field, and then go down there and just light someone up. It's like the coolest thing ever, because it's something he was never coached to do. I mean, you do these little tackling drills here and there just so everybody has a little bit of a baseline, but he was never expected to do that unless there was a pick or something thrown. So it's like seeing him be willing to work like that. That would be so cool if he somehow found his way into the offensive rotation. He was playing a few offensive snaps.
He has formations. He has
Well, and that's because he blocks his ass. off.
He literally has it's like heavy goal line formations. You see standing there in motion, coming into block.
No block, no rock.
What's our pod? Yeah.
No block, no rock.
There's a reason.
I think they used to. Coach Williams used to call him. They used to call him Officer Stan.
Okay.
Just because he used to put people in place, man. He used to put D-backs in line. He would beat the crap out of people in the run game. So that's probably why he's doing such a great job on special teams. Like he truly is a physical dude. Like he's a grinder. He would not give up on a run block or a stock block or anything like that. So there you go. There's the podcast name right there. For sure. Yeah, that's a guy who's for sure. Like he emulates that phrase.
Let that be a lesson to people that they're on a special team. I don't want to do this. Let Stan be your example.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Like,
for sure. Yeah.
You're on a Super Bowl team now.
Yeah.
And you're being pushed, by the Nebraska Twitter, all that. But you have a role, and do your role, and you can win a Super Bowl for God's sake.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just embrace it.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that it's tough for young guys that get put on special teams because everyone wants to come in and play.
I'm too good for this.
But it is in a lot of ways it's kind of a rite of passage.
Yeah.
It's just something like you have to do it. Like if you're gonna if you're a redshirt freshman, you're eligible to play, but you're not cracking the 2 deep. Like you need to be. That's the only way you can get on the field. So you got to find a way onto a team. It's what it is like being on field goal block if you're a lineman or being on the punch shield or something like that. Like it's not glamorous. If you're playing against, I remember being on punch shield and playing against Iowa in November and it's freezing cold out and you stay on the sideline for, 30 minutes, then you run out and punt and you're like, I'm going to tear my hamstring running down this field. But it is what it is. It's a part of the job. And you got to find guys that are willing to do it because it can be a lot of fun. Like there is like very few plays that are as exciting as like some dude running down there and like lighting someone up on the 15-yard line.
Right.
If it's not targeting or some bullshit, right?
Sure. But it's those guys. It's like a tone setter. Like it truly is.
If you watch Nebraska, especially this past year, you've realized just how important special teams is.
Right.
So if you're on a special team, you can help us win games. Hello.
Well, Mickey came in and he flat out said, "Look,
you're going to be on
special teams."
Yeah. And we talked about that a little bit before we started recording. Like
personnel.
You watch Alabama, they have starting receiver, like guys that are in, but also
Jameson, he's running down there.
they also have the depth too.
They also have 5-star
Yeah,
dudes sitting
yeah.
too deep.
So that's the thing too, is maybe once we through recruiting, through the transfer portal, whatever it is, like when we build more depth at those positions, then you can get some of your best guys out there running down on, as a gunner on punt or on kickoff or something like that. So
right.
it's a give and take. Like I agree. If you're out there, you got to be willing to do it, and you got to really, really take it seriously and study. You got to study just like you're studying any other position. You got to study tendencies. You got to study their habits, their formations, whatever. But yeah, it's at the end of the day, if we continue to build a roster, that hopefully that's the type of the change we see this season.
7 minutes.
All right, so now that we've got special teams out of the way, because it's a hot topic here on No Block No Rock, we talk about it damn near every episode. I want to talk about, there was a pretty special moment with you in your senior year. You had intercepted I forget the quarterback, but it was
AJ Bush.
AJ Bush.
Yeah. Former Nebraska quarterback.
Yeah.
Did you play with AJ?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was in the same class as me.
Okay. Yeah.
So after, and you were a household name. You were a captain, and you were in every press conference after every game. Like everybody knew who Mick Stoltenberg was. You'd become a household name for Nebraska football. But you had been battling through injuries, and then on that game, 30 seconds left, you intercept AJ Bush, and your knee gets all fucked up, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And
like the side of my ankle touched like the side of my
yeah.
thigh.
And so you're like laying there, and you get up on your own. They help you up, and then you walk off the sideline, and there's Scott Frost with the biggest smile on his face, man.
Yeah.
It's like goosebumps
for
stuff.
sure, dude.
Like,
yeah, that was a great moment. And I was down there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the way I got tackled, well, first of all, when I saw the ball, I was like, end zone, baby.
Yeah.
I got hawked like immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was wearing a knee brace after I had half a dozen knee surgeries, in 4 or 5 years. So like I wore the brace, especially on that left knee, because that's where I had a lot of the cartilage stuff go down. But yeah, like the side of my ankle came up like I felt it touch my thigh.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, we're done. Like it's, pretty cool last play of your life, man.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, Mark and Drew, the trainers, came out, like helped me up. Like I was like kind of stepping on it, felt fine.
Yeah.
So we start walking off the field, and then, like you said, everybody was just hyped just because, at that point I was probably only playing like 20, 25 snaps a game, something like that after I busted my knee up against Michigan that year. So yeah, just seeing like all the boys come over and Coach Frost, everyone was hype, and that was really cool moment. And it was like it was a season where not a lot of great, it was a 4-win season.
Yeah.
But just to kind of have that be, that sticks in my mind for sure.
Yeah.
And it was funny, Andrew Strop, he's one of the assistant strength conditioning coaches at Nebraska. As we're running off the field, he's like, hey man, you can't tear anything in your knee if there's nothing in there.
Right.
I'm like, hey, you're right about that, man.
Yeah.
Because at the time I had like a bunch of my articular cartilage and meniscus, like it's totally bone on bone on that left knee. So just, we're just joking around. He's like, yeah, man, can't tear your knee up if there's nothing in there.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But it's like total goosebump status, man. Like I was, of course, like when Mike had said, oh yeah, Mick Stoltenberg's hopping on the podcast, I started looking at highlights and I started looking at all this stuff. And yeah, Scott, I'm sure you've watched like the televised YouTube video of the whole thing. And Scott, like as soon as you went down, he's like, and of course a lot of people can't even see this, but his face was like, oh shit, like 30 seconds left,
right.
And this is he's gonna get hurt, but
yeah, well it is a cool moment. Actually, my father-in-law a couple years ago maybe, he got that picture. I don't know who took it or where it was from, but he got that like framed. He gave it to my folks, all that stuff. So it was, it sits, it's sitting in my parents' basement with all their other Husker stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a cool moment. Plus we were wearing those throwback jerseys, which I really liked.
Yes.
The only thing I didn't like about those jerseys was the helmets.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember those or not. It's like
forced leatherhead helmets, right?
Yeah, they kind of had like these stripes on it to make it look like a leather helmet. And I was like, if they would have just gone plain white,
right?
Gray face mask, something like that. But I like those are some cool throwback jerseys.
Well, the ones that we wore this past season against, I think it was Buffalo.
The all black.
No, the Buffalo. Yeah,
the Buffalo game with
the all whites. No,
it was the home game where it was the I don't know, the numbers look like they were from the 40s or whatever. I thought that was.
Oh yeah.
I'm
yeah.
like that should. I'm not gonna say it's a a permanent look, but I wouldn't be against it.
You know which one?
It would look real.
The ones I
smooth.
liked were 2010, 2009, maybe the 300 consecutive sellout. It was Louisiana Lafayette or something like that, but it was a 300.
Yeah.
It was a 300 game, so they had
Roy Haley.
Yeah, they had
went
those
off.
throwbacks with like the fancy looking number. They were the
Yes.
1960s throwbacks. They had white pants, black shoes, red jerseys, no stripes, no nothing, just the fancy looking numbers, white helmets, black numbers, gray face mask. I
Yeah.
always thought those were so cool. I always wish we could just like bring those back as like an alternate home jersey or something
So
like that.
in
but-
that regard, are you like, as a player, do you feel like the locker room wants more of like a modern look instead of like the traditional?
Y'all get hyped for those
Uniform,
alternate
like,
games.
so we kind of, yeah, a little bit, but also it's like
It's good in small doses.
at the end of the day, it's you play for a program like Nebraska, you just expect the jersey to look a certain way. It's
Right.
just the way it's always looked. Like a lot of other schools, it's changed so often throughout history that it is what it is. But we kind of seems like they kind of try to stick to the basics. But it is cool. Like to me, my favorite ones are always the throwbacks. It's like when they don't try to do too much. But like the black shirt ones were cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Those
we
are
had
sweet.
some. You guys got to look at the 2014 alternates and the 2015 alternates were not good. They had like
the duct tape numbers.
the 14 the duct tape numbers, and then the 2015 were all black, which was cool, but the same thing. It was like the duct tape numbers. They weren't like stitched fabric. They were
Oh,
like
God.
these shiny.
Yes,
So
silver.
whoever-
And
Yeah.
no, literally, you could not
couldn't-
read what
yeah.
number who was who.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah,
didn't know what
yeah.
was going on.
Yeah, for sure. So we
Did
had
you get
some-
to keep your jerseys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still have them, or did you
Yeah,
sell them?
No, I've got like 15 of them sitting in a bin. So
All right.
if anyone out there wants a jersey,
That's
hit me up.
I see a lot of
NIL
people that
coming. Yeah.
sell their equipment after
No,
it's all done.
So I just haven't got. I never. It felt weird getting rid of them, honestly, just for whatever reason. But you do get like 3 a year because you get a home and away and then alternate. So I've got a lot, but it's hard to let go of them just because I just don't know if I'm gonna want to get them framed or give them to somebody or give them to family or something like that, because that's my like I've been procrastinating it, but I want to put them in frames and give them to people
Yeah.
or something like that. But it's just I'm too sentimental. It's like hard for me
Yeah.
to give stuff like that
Yeah.
up. So
100%.
yeah, they're sitting in a big Tupperware bin at my parents' place. Hopefully, like rats aren't eating them or anything like that.
Mothballs.
I haven't checked on them in a while, so maybe I
No,
should
they're
do
the
that.
ones out there hawking them out on the street.
Yeah.
They're selling
Yeah,
your
I'm gonna,
jerseys.
I'm gonna open it
Yeah.
up. And there's gonna be like 3 left.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know. My personal favorite has always been the mesh look.
yeah. Would you? Those
I
were
wish
like
we could go back to the
20
Riddell.
We had the 2018. Do you remember those?
The
Pretend mesh ones.
yes.
Yeah.
I wish we would do real mesh instead.
Yeah, I did like I like I think it looks cool. There's no sleeve stripe.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
I'm just plain red, so I like those for that reason. But yeah,
And you saw like recruitings, people post their pictures on Twitter. Like they're dressing all red,
I don't like that.
and it's like
Do you guys like that?
Yeah, I like red on red and white on
I'm
white.
not. Will it help us win?
No.
No,
What? No, I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows?
maybe it's worth a shot. Oh,
Give a different look.
Did they used to do that though back in the day, didn't they? There's pictures from I swear there's old pictures of teams from back in like the 70s and stuff
long
wearing,
time ago.
wearing all reds.
Well,
all
no,
reds
that
and
was
all
the game.
whites.
That was the game where they lost against Oklahoma back in like
Sure.
the late '80s, I think,
Sure.
where they wore all red
And
at
they said,
home.
never
So it's
again.
probably
never
cursed.
again.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
they used to for whatever reason, I think it was 2016. It's like every away game, everyone wanted to go all whites.
Yeah,
But it was it Texas? What Texas
I think
game
it was.
that?
I feel like it was Colorado. They went all
It was
white.
the
might have
last
been.
game. It was like Bill Callahan or Frank Soldi's last game. They went
Yeah.
white on white, and like I felt like it was like a funeral. It was like a send off. We lost the
Yeah.
game, and they just haven't. They did it since though. I think Frost may have did it.
We did it. We did the all whites.
Yeah,
a lot,
Frost did it
quite
a
few
couple times. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look, like if you just go like found pictures from games in 2016, I swear it was like every away game. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why we just decided. I think I don't know if they let the captains pick or whatever, but it was like we went all white quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
Well, and then Nebraska Twitter was like, it's a curse.
Surrender
Like,
whites.
We're losing white. Yeah, we're
Surrender
losing.
whites.
Surrender whites.
Yeah,
I'm raving
you know,
the
you
white
know.
flag.
Right.
Yeah.
He knows it before we do.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, okay, maybe this can segue into my next question. This surrender thing. They were 3-9 last year,
Okay.
right? Scott Frost unfortunately, is on the hot seat. Okay, we have this game against Northwestern, conference game, first game of the year
In Ireland,
in
maybe.
Dublin. We'll
Probably not
see.
gonna
We'll
happen.
see if it happens.
You guys going?
Hell no.
No,
It's like $3,000 a person. with
Yeah,
both
it's like
flights.
$3,000 a head, and then like
It's-
the odds of that game actually happening. For the people that are listening, if you actually think a game is going to get played in Ireland in 2022, you are out of your goddamn mind.
Let's hope.
Just go buy your tickets to Chicago now, because the game is going to be played in Evanston at Northwestern. So just go buy your tickets now. Go get yourself a nice hotel in Chicago.
Well, if they did move it, it probably would be.
It would
in
be. It would be a
Evanston,
away
'cause
game.
didn't we get an extra home game or something? Or
We
got-
killed Northwestern last year. It was the best game of the year.
Yeah.
and you went, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what was your question?
So whether it's in Dublin or it's in Chicago, it doesn't matter. Big game.
For sure.
Okay, so Mick, what do you foresee this 2022 season being? What are your expectations when it comes down to it? It's about wins.
Yeah.
Okay, none of this close shit anymore.
Right.
How many wins does this 2022 team get?
Man, prediction. I don't know. It's because I know what the expectation is. It's I would assume there's been like you have to make the postseason, right? Like,
Oh, 100%.
It's I
That's
think most-
that's the
Right,
lowest
right.
bar as you
But
can
it's
get.
6 wins is
Yeah.
is the lowest
Yeah.
bar.
I genuinely and I am the biggest optimist to a fault. Like I don't care every situation, every game I watch because I just remember being out there in the situations and stuff like that and just kind of struggling as a team and that's why I was so it sucked losing that many close games, but also
Yeah.
it was every game I genuinely enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
I think I think the game that was the least close was the Illinois game. That seemed like that was the most out of our control out of any game in the entire season.
Mhm.
So I guess that's a good that's a great thing that you just know it's going to go down to the wire. But yeah, I'm really really hoping they can crack just that 7-8 win range. I could see it happen. Like I think you guys would agree with me. Like it's everyone's been saying it just over this past year, but we're right there and just adding a few different pieces and everyone kind of hammering down and really hitting recruiting hard and getting the right guys in the system. Like I think it's definitely possible. With the Big Ten, it's on the line every week. It's just you have to win those games, especially in the Big Ten West. You got to beat Big Ten West teams. Like it's just you
And
have
it's
to.
it's so doable.
Yeah.
Especially with like the talent you have with
Right.
and now we've got a guy that's coming back for his 5th year
Yeah.
and it's like there's no turnaround right now. There's a couple there's a couple assistant coaches here and there that are swapping in, swapping out. That's totally normal. Your 5th year, you have to be able to do
Yeah.
it. You have to be able to do it.
Well, and I've got it's tough. Like and people just ask me about this that just want to talk football, like outside of a setting like this, where it's just, hey, what do you think about Coach? I've got an emotional investment
Of
Yeah.
course.
in this staff.
You
because,
should.
Oh, yeah.
it really it's for whatever as a freshman in 2014, I left there in 2018. Me and everybody else that was in my class, we did not accomplish really any of what we wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
In the 5 years we were there, but when Coach Frost came in, we're all like,
Yeah.
hey, we're leaving here, especially as the season kind of went along and it wasn't going great in 2018. We're like, hey, we can really set a foundation here and try to, get something built for the future. And hey, maybe someday, like 3-4 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever, we can look back and just, I would like for this staff to be there, to see it through until we can have a lot of success and win some really big football games because I genuinely care about the staff. I care about the coaches. I care about the players that are there. I care about the pro. Like it's,
Yeah.
really like more than anything else. It's I want to see it work, So I think we got a chance. I'm excited about some of the stuff they did this offseason and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I've been telling everybody this. I don't care what bowl game it is, where it's at. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah. Just got to get
It
there.
could be in Arkansas. I'm going.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm as a fan, I'm going to that game because it'll be the first time back in the postseason since I was a sophomore or redshirt sophomore, 2016.
Right.
Foster Farms, right?
No, that would have been the Music City Bowl.
Music City Bowl in Tennessee.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
Foster Farms was UCLA in
Yeah.
2015.
Yeah.
So yeah, wherever it is, I don't care. I'm going. He said, cut.
All
that.
right.
Well, and then the last question, and then we're gonna get into kind of what you're doing. But I remember 2018. That would be your senior year, Scott Frost's first year. I remember him vividly saying, like, we need to remember these seniors. We need to remember these guys because you guys are going to be the ones that, like, send us off into the future, right? How, like, coming from a guy who was the platform, right? You were the guy that he's talking about. You were the class
Sure.
that sent or supposedly was supposed to send them off. And obviously, there hasn't been a send-off yet. I mean, what was it like playing? I mean, did you play? Was it any different than any other year in football like that? Did they coach you different? Did they talk to you guys differently about that?
Did you feel a different weight on you?
Yeah,
Honestly, a little bit, but I think it was more like, they helped us realize like that it was up to us to set the expectation and set the standard. So a lot of stuff that we had been working on in 2017, because I'm telling you, the way 2017 was, it's trying to find a way to get a team together in that situation where everyone knows the staff is going to get fired and stuff like that. So
Right.
I'll never forget, Coach Prella told me like, hey, it's just as much on you as anyone else. It's like looking at me like with conviction. He's just like, hey, you can't just correct people, because he's like, you can't just correct people out here on the practice field. Like everything's connected, everything outside the practice field, whatever. He's like, don't worry about being buddies with everybody. He's like, if you write something that's wrong and help a guy along the way, you might lose a friend, but you'll gain a brother.
Mhm.
That's what JP told me. And that struck a chord with me. So 2017, I was trying to work on just like, hey, lose your filter, man. If there's something going on off the field, talk to the guy, you don't have to, just confront him, like help fix the problem. So like a lot of us, especially as seniors in 2018, we heard that same message from the new staff where it was like, hey, we're going to do everything we can to get this transition going, but we need your guys' help. So yeah, we felt a lot of, I wouldn't say it was pressure, but we felt like that was our job, was to try and help things along. And I just don't know what it's like now. I'm not in that locker room anymore. I have no idea like what the state of it is or anything like that, but I'd hope there's still, guys in the upperclassmen that are really working on getting guys kind of pulling in the right direction. So yeah, I'm excited about it, man. We were just talking. It sucks that football is so far away.
Oh,
I know.
I hate it.
Looking forward to some Husker football again. So,
Well, look, on the bright side, when we released this episode, 18 days until Husker baseball.
There you go.
Just saying.
Jared's our baseball guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking around for Eric. Where's Eric? Eric's not here. Hello.
He works on Mondays. Sorry.
It's all right.
But yeah, I mean, and what I can tell you is that every single person that sat in your seat every single one of them has told us, yeah, Frost is the guy. Frost is the guy. You just have to give him time. And back to the original start of this podcast with you, you had mentioned that you had been through 4 different defensive line coaches,
Right.
5 defensive coordinators. And that is what my message, and generally us as well, and a lot of our guests has always been, you can't just keep recycling coaching staff, because then you just don't get that base.
right.
And it takes time, and hopefully everything gets righted,
Yeah.
and Scott takes us to the promised land.
No,
But-
it like you said, it is about consistency for sure, especially in college sports where everything's so volatile right now. In
Mhm.
college football, it's like every offseason, there's so many people moving around, and I feel like it's really rare to have an off season where there's no roster attrition or there's no coaching staff shifts or whatever. But as long as the main components are there, in my opinion, like an offensive, defensive coordinator, head coach, strength and conditioning staff, like those types of things are kind of the same throughout, whether position coaches are jumping around, because that's the nature of the business.
Right.
Guys are trying to get better jobs and everything like that. So it's just the way it is. But yeah, if they keep the main components consistent, I think they'll figure it out for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so Mick, I know that you had been a quality control coach at South Dakota.
Yeah.
What are you doing nowadays? Where can people like find you? Like, what's your bag right now?
Well, I'm just living in Omaha. I live in West Omaha somewhere, and then I did that for a little bit up in South Dakota. Did the coaching, graduate assistant type thing for a little bit, and I enjoyed it. But just it's with college coaching, if you're not like truly married to it, you can't really expect yourself to
Make a
do
living.
it. Yeah, well, yeah, it's you're moving around every couple of years, so I
yeah.
guess I'm a little bit of a homebody, so I decided I wanted to come home. So just living, working in Omaha right now. But yeah, I will say this: it's been really cool to be a spectator of the game of football again. Like, I had a blast. I know the season was what it was, but went to my first away game as a fan since I was in high school. Had a lot of fun tailgating, with the
Heck
family.
yes.
One of us.
Hey, you need to come to an NBNR tailgate. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you.
That's going to
If
be
you
this
got-
year.
Yeah, absolutely. You're starting a tailgate?
We're going to do a tailgate with Patriarch. They got a sweet trailer. We're going to do some sort of sweet thing. So
Where are you guys going to be located?
we don't know yet.
Okay.
So, but we will send you the details
Yeah,
when
for sure.
when we get more of them.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, now that you get to enjoy the actual fan experience again,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a blast. It really is. It's just fun to, like, when you're a player, you can't even watch football on TV without thinking about, like, oh man, this is what we got going on this week. I need to study. This is the team we're playing. Like, you see everything through the lens. It's like tunnel vision
Right.
of what you've got in your immediate. And the same thing when I was working as a quality control coach. It's just, you don't really have the time to sit and watch NFL football or anything like that, or watch other college games. So it's like, yeah, just sitting and watching ball and
Yes.
kind of just seeing everything that's going on around the country and around the Big Ten and everything like that's been, yeah, I really, really enjoyed this season. It was a fun college football season. Not that the two teams in the finals weren't like what everyone expected.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Right.
It was still a lot of fun, and yeah, pumped for it, man. I know it's how many months out, but yeah, it'll be.
Well,
a
and
good
of course,
season.
you're like, as a former player, everybody just wants to approach you and get your intake on, get your
Hey,
take on
yeah.
whatever
It helps.
everything's going
It
on.
helps when you, like, don't look like you can actually fit through doors now, and
Yeah.
people don't.
Yeah.
People aren't flagging you down just 'cause, so I don't
Yeah.
get recognized a ton anymore, which is nice.
Yeah.
A little more
Yeah, I bet.
incognito.
That works. But where
Yeah.
can they recognize you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever?
Yeah.
Like, what's your
Promote
handle?
yourself, man.
Yeah,
So,
promote yourself. Where-
I guess I'm on Twitter at big_Mickett.
Okay.
We had a
Big
thing like
Mickett.
we had a thing in my high school where everyone called each other Big Ticket, like if you're a big dude, like the Kevin Garnett deal. So I just
Hell yeah.
I made the account when I was like 14 and never changed it.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, so I was telling you guys while we are off air, but I just don't tweet really. I retweet like everything. Every time I see about somebody I know or some player, like say GIF makes a play or something in an NFL game, I'll like
Yeah.
retweet like, let's go GIF.
Let's go.
But during Nebraska games, I really try to stay off the Twitter unless it's something positive, just because, you go through
There's
it, whatever.
plenty.
You've been there.
Yeah,
You've been there.
there.
You
but,
know.
Yeah. Although I will say I'm on there. So yeah, give me a follow, whatever.
Hell yeah.
Big Mickey.
Yeah. There.
Now that Mick is about to leave here, looking about to leave, join us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at NBNR Podcast.
And on Instagram. And on Facebook now. We're on freaking Facebook now.
We need more Facebook
Hey,
follows.
You got to go after the not so young demographic.
Yes,
as well.
and it's
Yeah.
working great. We had like 17,000 people interact with
Yeah.
us on Facebook in
There
1
you go.
week.
That's
So,
right.
yes, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
And our website, of course, NBNRpodcast.com. We have past episodes galore. We've got merch on there.
Yes, find your merch.
Buy a shirt, buy a sweatshirt. We got
Your
all the gear
handbag.
for you.
Your handbag. Remember, all that stuff just goes back to
Tote.
paying for pizza for the players, all that stuff. So, guys, go to NBNRpodcast.com. Find the merch.
We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere you listen to your podcast. We are there. Give us a 5-star review, please. We need it. If you want to give us a review saying just how great we are, just how great Mick Stoltenberg is, name names. Come on,
Do a name drop.
We need all that.
Talk about the redhead that leads the show.
Shoot. I think that's enough. I mean, look, go to the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room. Go to Patriarch Distillers, like all in La Vista. Go to these places. Support local. Drink local. That's what I do. That's what we do. We appreciate their business. I am one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Kyle Byers.
Mike Delaware.
Mick Stoltenberg.
And as always, GBR.